we're not going to bury the lead because we come on air this morning with some news from U.S. Soccer. And all right, I got to make sure I get this right because literally it just came into our mailboxes here as to what is happening. U.S. Soccer's sporting director, Matt Crocker, who we've talked about over the last couple of weeks, the newest appointee for U.S. Soccer, has elevated B.J. Callahan to head coach of the U.S. men's national team as Anthony Hudson, who has been serving in an interim capacity for basically the last half of a year since the World Cup, is now departing. We don't know exactly where he is going. By the time you're listening to this, that information will be public. But, we're assuming that he's going to a professional opportunity at a club somewhere. I don't think that it's domestic, so the world, to a certain extent, is out there and his oyster. We wish him well, thank him, but from a practical perspective, this means that B.J. Callahan is now the new men's national team head coach and will be for this foreseeable future, and at least through the Gold Cup until Mr. Crocker makes his decision as to who is going to be the coach. Now, you may be out there saying, that's great, but who the hell is B.J. Callahan? As a lot of people, including a couple of us here at the at the State of the Union podcast, are saying too. Now, I'm giggling because this is insane. Okay, not that B.J. Callahan is now the head coach. It's just what is going on? Why can we not get a head coach of the U.S. men's national team? Why is this taking so long? And now we have our second interim head coach. Now, for those that know B.J. Callahan, he certainly has a resume in that he has coached at all levels, be it youth. He coached at the professional levels with coming out of the Philadelphia Union organization, college, youth national team, that type of stuff. Has his pro license. He is a native of New Jersey and 41 years old. And let's see, I want to make sure that I get this right. He was with the Federation and obviously with Anthony Hudson now. And he was the strategy analyst before being promoted to the assistant coach on the U.S. national team. I don't know what the strategy analyst is, but obviously he was part of that ecosystem and part of the national team program. I wish him well. He will now be leading this U.S. national team 3 years out from arguably the most important time and moment in American soccer history through the Gold Cup, a tournament that the U.S. is going to play and try to defend their title. And he will be doing it again in an interim capacity. And so while there has been change, nothing really has changed here. I don't know what to think about this other than there is an element of frustration, Mosse, as to why we find ourselves here. Now, keep in mind, we lost 6 months because the World Cup happened in December. Nothing anybody could do about that. That was just the reality of the situation. But it meant that you were 6 months closer to the next World Cup. Now we've lost yet another 6 months, okay? And that is of our own doing because we didn't hire anybody. And that might have been prescient, and that might have been absolutely a fair thing to do, and you want to make sure you get the right person. But now we're 3 years away from the World Cup, and we're going to go through most of the summer here now with an interim coach. Now, they were going to do that with Anthony Hudson. They had already said that. But Anthony Hudson probably read the writing on the wall and said, if there comes an opportunity and a jumping off point, I need to take it because I'm not going to be the head coach of the national team going forward, as much as this has bolstered his resume. And he's done a very good job and should be applauded for that. He said, I need to get a job and I need to get a gig that is going to last. So congratulations to him. Thank you to him. And I wish him well wherever it is that he is going to. And like I said, if you're listening to this now, the news is probably out where that ultimately is. But we came on air and we have to go with this, and we just don't have that information yet.
Yeah, it makes a transition period feel even more transition-y. My question would be, if they do hire a coach at some point in the next couple of weeks, previously the plan was that even if they did that, the coach would only take over in September and Hudson would still coach the Gold Cup. Now, would they change that and have the new coach step in right away and coach the Gold Cup?
Maybe. I mean, maybe this changes the calculation. And, if you're, well, like we said about Anthony Hudson, this was a gift to him to pad his resume and to put his best foot forward. And I think he did. I think he used that to his advantage. And this is another gift to BJ Callahan to, hey, use this to your advantage. And if and when it's over, and it will be over, then make sure that you have put your best foot forward and you look better coming out of it.
I read an article about BJ Callahan that described him as a set-piece guru. So
good.
Mexico Nations League semifinal, that first corner, I expect a goal out of it.
Well, we did talk before about the set-piece specialist and coach that the U.S. men's national team had. That was necessarily him, but now you're the man. Now you're in charge of this team at a really crucial point and a transition, like you said, a transitionary type of moment. And, go for it and use it to your advantage. But I do think that this is not a good look for the United States Soccer Federation. Now, you can have moments of transition, but keep in mind, Ernie Stewart is now gone. Brian McBride is now gone. Greg Berhalter is now gone. Anthony Hudson is now gone. And the guy who was the strategy analyst is now the head coach. So next person up. I guess the last guy out of Chicago turned out the lights. And, I know the folks in Chicago are probably listening to this and saying, yes, but. And there might be valid reasons for these decisions. And shit happens. I get it. And you have to bob and weave and adjust. But did all of this have to happen? And it's a longer conversation, and as we go on through the summer and maybe things get clearer, we will continue to have this conversation. But as it stands right now, BJ it is. So good luck, BJ. And I look forward to seeing you and your team and you leading this team through the summer. There will be more on this, and obviously later on in the week in our next pod we will dive into it. I think more. But as it stands right now, congratulations, BJ Callahan, the newest head coach of the U.S. men's national team. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.